This is public access, the Skinny Jeans playtest, part 4. A quick bit of recapping. We are on the cusp of a night phase right now. You all are going to you're going to be watching an Odyssey tape here in a bit. But first, we have to resolve a key, the key of the cave dweller, which we'll do in a moment. Before we get all to that into that, though, I just want to just do a quick bit of recapping on where the mysteries are that we kind of where we're at with them. So the house in Escondido Street, you're ready to resolve that. You've determined that the house is something of a nexus point where various realities are converging, and the government was involved in this. They were doing experiments, and the Rappaports were actually part of that program. For the Deep Lake Lurker, you have determined that Jessica Stosky was taken by a beast of some sort. The lurker is a monstrous beast. And Zagreus, we didn't get too far in Zagreus yet, but yeah, you kind of did. You've only got 2 clues, but boy, they were really important clues. Mainly, there's a couple of big things going on there that I want to remind you of. One, this is not really a clue, but it's interesting. The big man tried to convey to Michael that Zagreus has nothing to do with TV Odyssey, but there you have it. Um, and Steve Knudsen went to the storage unit where the Zagreus cabinet was found. It's now empty, but the interior was covered in depictions of labyrinths, and then there was a hatch that goes down to the tunnels beneath the town in this storage unit. Steve actually rented that storage unit, and so you have access to the tunnels from there. And I think I even let you put that in your corner of the house, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's sort of what's going on with Zagreus. So that's sort of the deal there. You have at the center of all of this is the TV Odyssey question. What happened to TV Odyssey? You currently have 2 or 3 Odyssey clues for that. David Tilbert was made of bugs, and there was talk of finding a nest. We know that basements are a strange liminal space in this world, and that Sheriff Hanscom went into like weird fugue states and began talking about the ancient desert and entities and peoples of the ancient desert. Those are your 3 Odyssey clues. You're about to get another one when you watch this tape. And we'll check in with the latchkeys after we do the key of the cave dweller. But the short answer is you all have a lot of conditions. So you might want to get that taken care of. But let's do the key of the cave dweller to kick off if there's no other questions. The key of the cave dweller, which you marked to bump up Escondido Street to a 10, is each latchkey narrates a flashback to a fun activity they used to do with their family while at home. Whoever wants to start, please do.
I can start. We see young Katie, her hair up in a very high ponytail, and she is doing cartwheels on a front lawn, a very well manicured front lawn, as a group of adults stand around and applaud. Well done, Katie. Gosh, you're so good at that, one of them says. Katie, you're a real little athlete, aren't you? Another says. And Katie bows, big smile on her face proudly, and looks over to her parents who are holding red solo cups and standing next to the barbecue. It is a block party on the street, and everybody is out having a really great time. Kids are running around, but Katie's parents aren't really watching her cartwheels or applauding with the other. They're deep in a argument again, as the twins run in between and around in a figure 8 loop their legs. And Katie turns back to her adoring audience and says, "Want to see me do a backflip now?"
I'll go next. So we see the Knudsen family in their Deep Lake residence, not their Minnesotan one that they moved back to. It's a pleasant like summer evening. You can just hear like the soft wind blowing across the desert, and it's like a warm but still somewhat cool summer's evening, the perfect kind of evening to get in the state of New Mexico. Stars overhead. You can kind of just see the blinking lights of distant like radio towers and the glow of a gas station somewhere in the expanse. The Nudsons lived more on the edge of town at this time than amidst others, and the house stands mostly dark except for the light coming from the living room window, which flickers and changes in a multi-chromatic strobe with the television um, uh, currently playing. And as we push in through the window, we see the clan gathered on the couch, mother, father, and Steve in between them. I believe I've established that Steve was an only child, so they're seated on the couch, and we pivot around to see that on the television is Jeopardy, and they are going through their usual evening ritual, particularly for the weekends, of watching Jeopardy. And as Alex Trebek is running through the answers to the contestants, the Nudsons do occasionally shout out the questions ahead of the contestants when they're pretty sure that they're correct. And Steve is not really up to speed with it. There's a lot of stuff that goes directly over his head, but he does occasionally get one or two. And the Nutson families just, eat their little TV dinners as they sit and watch Jeopardy and yeah, eventually go to bed. But it's fun. It's a good way to spend time with the family.
It's Christmas. The family has bought Michael an Atari. It is with beaming bright eyes. Michael is so excited that they didn't get him like a new game. They got him a game that came out like last year, and for relatively cheap because like it said that there were some bugs with it, and they thought, oh no, it can't be that bad. And when Michael like look like when it gets all plugged in and all loaded up, it just doesn't work very well. Like the controls are just so wonky. Like the little figure, it doesn't even really resemble like ET whatsoever. Uh, it's just kind of bad. But Michael is transfixed. Uh, his parents are watching a little bit bored and not really getting why Michael is so excited by this new technology. Uh, it, but it makes him happy, and so they're happy for him.
Fantastic. You all had mentioned last time about wanting to watch the Deep Lake Off the Beaten Path video, but you also have Astral '09 Pyramid Passage Pure White Contact. First of all, who's watching the tape so that we can trigger this, and where are you watching the tape? Your options are, well, we've already kind of watched one at the cabin, so there's really no need to do that again. But so it's basically Escondido Street or Rodenbecker.
I mean, we're resolving. We're gonna try and resolve Escondido tonight, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
So
Watching it there makes sense to me.
yeah,
Yeah.
we can
Yeah.
watch it there. Let's do it. I think we should do. Man, both are good. Honestly, they're
It,
both very good.
oh, I can't remember. Oh God, there is a special rule, but I can't remember it, and I'm so scared.
You get a
Nice.
clue. You get a clue
Yeah.
from it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think. I mean,
Well, we are
I've
trying to solve the Deep Lake problem, so maybe Deep Lake off the beaten
yeah. I was gonna
path.
say let's do off the
mm.
beaten path.
Okay, sounds good. Deep Lake Off the Beaten Path. Is everyone going to? Escondido Street to watch it, or other people? Because you only get to take one action during the phase, if you'll recall. And to resolve the mystery, you only have to tell Casey what happened. If you want to do something beyond that, like you want to actually like destroy the
Yes.
house or do something like that, you can do that as well. But just remember that you're kind of limited in your actions as far as that goes. Um, so who's going where?
Well, I haven't done anything with Escondido, so I feel like I should probably help out a little bit.
Very good.
I think Steve, depending on what Michael might be wanting to do, I think Steve is actually gonna take a flashlight and go check out those tunnels.
God,
Uh,
Steve, you cannot go down in the tunnels at night. Why
Yes, I
you
can.
don't do it by yourself?
I'm doing it by myself.
No.
um, so so then, Michael, what are you going to do?
Uh, Apparently go in the tunnels underneath Deep Lake.
I like the
I
idea of Katie shows up at the house, no one else is there. It's just Katie and Casey.
I
Casey, you can add Casey to the harem, I guess.
Maybe I'll invite Billy to come with me.
Oh,
A
that's
little
good. Yeah.
date night at the weird
I have to
house.
remind you all of like what listening back to last session was the funniest moment of that session, which didn't go remarked upon at the time, was uh he hires you and then he goes, "Well, now that I've given you a job, what's your name?"
Oh shit, that's so funny.
Billy
And then he gives you your own name, Starfire.
Starfire.
Okay, so that all sounds like a plan. Let's go ahead and talk about then. Um, okay, so I think the action is just going down into the tunnels and searching the tunnels. That feels good to me
Yeah.
for both of you. And then Katie, your action is you just have to tell Casey what happened. That's
Yeah.
basically it. So let's read the tape. Deep Lake off the beaten path. This tape is a montage of amateur footage from nature trails around Deep Lake. A solo hiker, Josh Ortega, introduces each segment by talking into a handheld camcorder about why each location is special, followed by clips of wildlife he spots on the way or notable landmarks. I will also tell you there's a special rule that's invoked if you watch the tape at Escondido Street. The VCR and TV in that room at Escondido Street, they work even though there's no power in the house. You know that already. You get to collectively define a clue inspired by what you see on the tape. The clue can be used for any mystery, but cannot conclusively answer a question by itself. You can keep doing that even after you finish this mystery. You can always come back to the house and watch a tape there if you want. One other thing, because we're doing skinny jeans, you'll also be defining an Odyssey clue from the tape as a reminder. So you get to, as players, you get to say a lot about what's going on here in the way you narrate your part of the tape. So just keep that in mind. But let's go ahead and assign parts. Everybody does paint the scene, which is prompt one. We'll give prompt two to Alex, prompt three to Chaotic, prompt four to Amanda. Let's take a 5-minute break so you all can think about that. We'll come back and do the night phase. Deep Lake, off the beaten path. In an introduction to the Deep Lake area, Josh appears cheerful and upbeat, but there is something haunted about his expression. What details of the footage indicate he's been searching for something obsessively?
Josh's fingers occasionally appear in the frame. He's holding the camera with one, and as he talks, he gesticulates, and largely his frame is centered clavicle up, kind of close up in there. But some of his gestures do occasionally enter the frame. You can see his fingers, and they are just coated in dirt, like he has been digging in the earth. And he makes no comment on it, but you can tell very subtly. At one point, he like reaches up to scratch his nose, but stops, like he's reminding himself that his hands are filthy, but he doesn't want people to see that.
as he focuses in and out of various places, talking about the types of foliage in the trees and maybe if there's any animals coming by, bird song, he stops every now and then and you hear some rustling and you see just the tip where you can barely see his dirty fingers, but just the tip of a spray can where he marks a red mark on a tree. And if you look closely while the camera is turning and panning across the forest, you can see he's been marking out a search grid, marking off the places that he's already looked, already been.
Eventually, uh, we sort of get like a sort of like the camera is shifted away from Joss to like take a look at the wide pan of the forest, and it is just so dark outside. It's as though he's been outside for hours, as we could see like looking down that there's dew starting to form, as though we are already halfway past through the night.
Katie, it's currently just you and Casey on the couch. Michael and Steve never showed up. And did you invite Hawk?
Absolutely.
Hawk hasn't showed up yet either. Casey says, well, this isn't much of a party so far.
Yeah, I don't know where the guys are. It seems they said they were going to be here.
I'm just, I just can't believe I worked up the nerve to come back into this house. There's just so many memories here for me, you know?
I mean, I get it. I get it. It's like when I went back to visit my mom. It's things feel weird, but it's just a house, you know? It's just a house. So, well, I mean, it's a weird house. Well, we don't know how weird it is. There's this whole thing where the family was signed up to do experiments, and I don't know if the experiments were like in the house or if they were the family was doing them. So I don't really know if it's still happening, but it seems pretty quiet. But I think that's probably why they didn't knock it down.
I'll also point out here that Sheriff Hanscom is outside. I think the only reason why anyone's doing this right now, based off, especially after what happened to Steve and Michael last time they were in the house, the only reason Casey's in here is because Sheriff Hanscom is outside keeping an eye on things. So, in that sense, you're safe, even though the house is, is the house. Meanwhile, Steve and Michael, you're in the storage unit. Do you have flashlights?
Oh
Of
yeah,
course.
obviously. Yeah. Click.
Take it away.
Yeah, so like I said, weird, creepy drawings all over the walls. I think this
Mhm.
might be some kind of window into the motive of our unsub. That means unidentified subject.
Yeah. Um, Specifically for what exactly?
Well, you've been getting those weird messages, right? That fella on the forum, this Adafoy guy,
Mhm.
thinks he can just pop online because of the anonymity of the internet and tell people, like, threaten them and like stalk them. You know, that's illegal. You know, that's called harassment. We have laws against that, Mikey boy. So look, I told myself, hey, what if I check out this the place where it was found? My working theory, right?
Mhm.
Walk with me here, Mikey. That this place indicative of the psyche behind the person who wanted it unfound, right? And who doesn't want it found? This Adafoy fuck. So I'm thinking, pardon my language, this guy is not right in the noggin, pointing at all the labyrinth drawings. And then, as I told you on the way over here, this is not a feature. It's not advertised on the me and my board in the flyer. I scanned it twice. I should know. I think he dug a tunnel, or rather, did something we shouldn't have. You know, shines his light
Oh,
over on the hatch and it's just like, yeah, what do you think of
y-
that?
yeah. You do know, like, Like there's been sort of all sorts of experiments by the government since like the 70s. So like I know like they did some testing out in like the desert on all. So maybe the tunnels were built earlier then? Like
Maybe.
if it was dug out, like they would be like more hand dug rather
Well,
than
I
concrete.
sure. So I'm not saying that they're like hand dug. I'm just thinking that like they may have, I don't know. I'm not I'm not the expert on tunnels. All right. That's my Aunt Barb. She works in like construction. But my Uncle Leroy, I remember this like 5 Christmases past. He told me about the hidden commies, right? Like these people who were operating like trying to overthrow American society. Now, I don't buy into all of that conspiracy hokey poke, but what
Um,
I'm thinking is that like
I'm gonna cut you
there's
off there, because like this is all very interesting, Steve, but didn't we promise Katie that we were going over to like Escondido?
oh yeah no like we can no we can still go there. I was thinking like what if we like just because like what I don't think there's a bunch of like we're in the middle of fucking nowhere right now, right? This place is out here on the edge of the desert. I'm thinking this might pop over to like a little bunker or something. It can't go that far. So I'm saying like maybe we just take a look in there, give it a look see, get a quick little peek, and then we just pop out and head over to the party. I mean, like, what's that saying about being like fashionably late? Like 10 minutes late is 15 minutes early.
We are already like 10 minutes. I think like
So
20
we're on
minutes.
time. Great.
I will end this scene by telling you that there's someone standing in the hall outside the storage unit, and they are smoking a cigarette. You see the ember glow of the cigarette. Let's go back to the tape. Alex.
So the tape cuts and there's a distortion from the VHS tape for a moment. Little error flickers in the corner, but it clicks back into playing the actual content of the tape. It's a little bit forward, and Josh is filming as best as he can on a handheld camera at this time a breathtaking sunset view of Deep Lake from the trail along the mountain. You can see the placid reflective surface of the lake folding out below him. You can even see like the spots on the other side that denote where the camp is at that year. And as the sun is slowly dipping across the horizon, Josh is just talking behind the camera, excitedly, with a bit of like a fever pitch creeping into his voice, talking about the history of this geographic region, how the Deep Lake crater, he calls it. This was indeed not originally it wasn't always a lake. This used to be just a crater in the desert a long time ago. And how its unique shape, he never expands on that, but he just describes it as the unique shape creates this unusual effect as if the lake is being filled by shadows. And indeed, as he's describing it, like you can see that as the sun dips, it's almost like all swarming from the distant horizon, a dappling of shadows just ripples across the water. And whilst he is remarking on just the beauty of it all, he begins to tilt the camera down a little bit in a way. Because as the sun is setting, as the sun, the orb of the orange light, crests downward over the open sky, suddenly, if you watch, and Josh doesn't seem to want to make the camera focus on it, there is a symmetrically perfect diamond shape that hovers in the air as if it's floating across the horizon, strangely enough. But he makes no remarking on it.
Intriguing. So Casey says, well, the guys said they were going to tell me what happened to the Rappaports. I mean, that's what you were supposed to be helping me out with, I guess. What do you know? Like, what happened?
Well, the way the guys explained it to me is that they're in a different dimension or something. Because they were signed up to do experiments. Like I said, it's a weird house. Like
Oh,
not anymore, maybe. So what I think is that they're still here, kind of, but not here at all because it's a different dimension. Like they're
or,
spread out.
I mean, I do remember a lot of like military people in town around that time. Do you think it was like a government thing? Like, is this like an Area 51 thing?
I mean, probably. Who else has got the money?
Yeah. And just then, you hear outside, very loud in the stillness of the dark and the night. He's the one they call Dr. Feelgood. He's the one that makes you feel all right. He's the one they call Dr. Feelgood. Steve and Michael, all the way on the other side of town, the ember glow of a cigarette. So you decide to go ahead and go down in the hatch, huh? And Tim Crayley steps out of the shadows into the
Oh,
storage unit.
oh, hey, Mr. Crayley. Sorry, is this after hours? I was trying to visit my unit.
It's your unit, man. You do whatever you want. You just want to be careful down in the tunnels if that's what they lead to.
I wait. I thought you said you didn't know anything about the. Okay.
You didn't hear it from me, but there might have been a secret government project underneath the ground a long time ago. They abandoned it, and that's why we were able to buy the land for the storage facility so cheap.
Steve like gives Mike a little like a polite nudge and like whispers to him saying like, "Hey, don't make a big show of it, but I think Mr. Crayley's tweaking on something." He just keeps it low. He says, "All right, yeah, no, it's actually we were just talking about that. Actually, that's pretty crazy stuff. Don't worry, we're gonna play it perfectly
Well,
safe.
it's
I
just
just
I
want to."
got thinking about what we talked about earlier today, and I pulled up some records, and yeah, old me and my only exists because we got a really good deal on this land
Oh
from the
yeah.
government.
Oh well, yeah. Okay.
So who knows what you're going to find down there?
Well, I mean, whatever it is, or we're gonna treat it very seriously, and we don't want it to. Nothing. We don't want there to be anything down there that affects your business. You know.
Nope, nope, nope. All right. Well, you need me to keep lookout or something?
Oh, that's actually great. Yeah. You mean like, I mean, hey, that sounds awesome. Thank you, Mr. Crayley. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, I got it under control.
I'm gonna quickly Google, can you develop misophonia later in life?
I I think I just whispered to Steve, do you do you think this guy works for the government?
Oh, absolutely not. Does this guy look like he works for the government?
So down the hatch?
Down the hatch.
Down the
Down
Ah,
the
come on,
hatch.
Mikey. We got to make it to the party. Just clap, clap down the hatch.
Indeed. We're going back to the tape chaotic.
footage of heavily damaged trees and strange patterns scattering the ground. Josh makes nervous ramblings as he attempts to explain this phenomena. A lightning strike, probably. Maybe a bear tore up those trees. What do we see in the background that indicates this some kind of ritual was attempted here? Josh makes sort of this nervous sucking in breath as he just sort of whistles out as he says, "Oh, that's some really big lightning strike. A storm must have passed through here. You could see like animals, like footprints all running about, just tumbling over stumps and whatnot. Logs been sort of cut in two and twain, forming like this sort of cylindrical, like spiralistic pattern, centering into a point where it's still smoldering. And we hear this clicking sound again, but we don't see Joss making that noise. Something is hunting him. Something is stalking him.
Katie, there's a little bit of commotion outside. You hear Hawk. Sorry. You hear Hawk say, "Get off me, man! Get off me! Starfire! Starfire! Help me!"
Oh, and I think I put down, because I have a bowl of popcorn. It's a party. I put down the bowl of popcorn and I go running. I don't even pause the video. I just go running out to the front door and I throw it open. Hawk!
You see Sheriff Hanscom has Billy like pressed up against the hood of his car, like arresting him. And who knows what happened here, but like whatever it was, the situation escalated really quickly.
Oh, Sheriff, he's supposed to be here. He's part of the party. I invited him.
Well, he's like, and he kind of, I think the sheriff is like, he's like clearly really red faced and flustered. And I think he's just looking for a reason, looking for an excuse to go after Billy James because everybody in town is pissed at Billy for reopening the camp. And he basically like says something along the lines of like Billy mouthed off to him when the sheriff said to turn down his radio, right? And so that's kind of what's going on here.
Oh, I'm sure that he didn't really mean to do that. I mean, he's just excited because we're having this party, and I think as she's explaining what's happening, I think there starts to be like the sounds of thunder and storm clouds coming over the house.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I love that.
and it looks like it's gonna rain. This seems like a lot of work. Why don't you just come inside and we'll all sit down and we'll finish watching this tape and we'll have some popcorn. I got some sodas. It'll be a nice night.
I don't know if you would or would not have been able to convince the sheriff to let him go. I'm not going to trigger a move here because the very next thing that happens gets the sheriff's attention. Casey screams from inside the house. And the sheriff just lets Billy go, but he's still handcuffed. And what do you do?
I grab Billy by the arm that are kind of locked behind his back and I drag him with me to run back to the house.
I love it. Uh, I think Casey's scream was pretty blood curdling. I want the night move to work up the nerve to go back into the house. What do you afraid is going to happen if you don't?
I'm afraid don't if I don't get brave enough to go back in the house, something bad is going to happen. Something because I've heard the stories about what happened in that house from Michael and Steve, and it's going to happen to Casey and the sheriff, and people are going to blame me.
It's worse than that. Casey and the sheriff disappear forever, and you and Hawk will be the last people to have seen them.
Oh, and he's in handcuffs, so
He's
that's
yeah,
extra good.
yeah, well, and he's also like nobody likes him. So
Yeah.
let's roll dice first and see where that goes. I think it's going to be with composure and um star. Oh, I think it's a starfire. I'm going to put you at disadvantage because I think you're so focused on Billy, you're not thinking
It's
straight.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really care about Casey. Uh, All right, disadvantage. And sorry, you said that this was going to be composure? Awesome.
Composure.
I have a point in that. Oh, this is a really good roll. All right, that is an 11.
Nice. We'll come back to this in a moment. The tunnels beneath Deep Lake. Pull this up really quick. Against all logic and good sense, there is a network of utility tunnels beneath Deep Lake. Their existence suggests an apparent purpose. After all, why would there be steam tunnels if the town did not have a use for them? But closer inspection reveals that the wiring, pipelines, and drainage do not connect to any works of public infrastructure in Deep Lake. You'll realize that even just going down there, you'll see that straight away, that it's all like a ruse. Um, they simply exist. And from flashing your flashlight around and poking your head around corners, the tunnels seem like they go really far. It's really a vast network down here. You don't have time to search at all, but we do have time to do paint the scene. The tunnels are covered with graffiti. Which images are you drawn to most? Or if you were there, what would you be drawn to most? And what about it frightens or amuses you?
I think there are images of little footprints of animals, animal footprints, but they look like they're scattered as if they're running away across the walls, across the caves, from the spot near where I would be standing. And there's just something really disconcerting about the idea that animals are fleeing an area that you are not fleeing.
There's some graffiti that is, at a glance, a lot of just like red in a conical shape, not conical, cylindrical, like just like a pillar shape. Um, and artistically, you can tell pretty quickly it's supposed to be like bloody meat kind of thing. And someone has sprayed the words "I hear the call of flesh" over it, and a lump forms in Steve's throat as he recalls what the sheriff was rambling about on the side of the highway.
There is the image of Charon, the ferryman, with the sort of like the images of him saying, I will take you down the river of Styx.
Steve, this is your idea. What do you do?
Wow, he just shines a light across the tunnel. This is spooky. And then shines the light directly into Michael's face.
Very
Like,
unamused face.
are you afraid of the dark, Mikey?
No?
Shines under his chin. Yeah, look, it's nothing down here, just a bunch of empty tunnels, like I told you. Okay. But
Okay.
like is it nothing immediately threatening? So why don't we just you just like the light doesn't reach like the furthest edge and goes, okay, so that's just not okay. Uh well, that doesn't seem as small as I was expecting.
No.
You think I can fit a scooter down here maybe? Like not for now. I'm just never mind.
Steve, you can go ahead and trigger the meddling move with.
Yeah, I was about to say like he like begins to like shine the light around the areas. He's
Yeah,
like
you could trigger it with reason.
yeah, he's like looking because like, I don't know, maybe there's signs of passage. Do any of my conditions get in the way here?
Nah.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna just roll a flat then. Plus reason, that's a 10.
Nice. What are you doing, Michael?
Well, I still have not triggered for my move. The trick is out there. So I think I will do that now.
Oh, this might. Oh, you want to find your clue now? Yeah.
Yeah, I think just from being down here, these tunnels, like I've just been noticing just how damp they are, which is
Mm.
very weird for being in the desert, as though we are so deep underground that we are underneath the water table of Deep Lake.
Oh, that's really interesting. So the thing about the truth is out there, though, is that someone leaves you the clue, right?
Mm,
And so if if you're okay with it, I think what
yeah.
I'm going to do is that person has spray painted your name
Mm-hmm.
on a wall to get your attention.
Yeah.
And they say it's like Michael colon water arrow river question mark.
Mikey, what the fuck? You came down here before I did?
I mean, Michael's a fairly common name, but yeah.
It says Michael S.
Okay, Michael S. Yeah.
Mikey, what the fuck? You tagged this place? It's illegal. Graffiti. Come on, man. Do you have no respect?
Well, if I was gonna tag this place, I wouldn't have left my name.
I don't know. I mean, some people write their name on the back of their underwear. Not that I know anything about that, but it's okay. So if you didn't write that, then who did?
That's a good cut. Amanda, please finish off the tape.
We see the light from the video camera that Josh is holding, and the camera is shaking, it's moving about, and the flashlight from the camera, the spotlight that is on the camera, is really the only source of light here. And we see that he is using the camera as a way to see where he is going as he is frantically stumbling down a trail. You can see flashes of the lightning up through the foliage and the canopy of the trees as the storm is rolling in and gathering in the background. Josh is nonsensically babbling about angels and omens and something chasing him, something hunting him. He uses the camera to look behind him, and as he does that, he loses his footing. The camera goes shaky, it moves and it flies around. You can't really make sense of what direction we're looking in. It slams into the dirt onto the ground, pointing up in the air. We see Josh scrambling to stand up from his fall. There is a noise, an eruption of distorted screeching. The camera can't quite pick it up. It shorts out the sound, it becomes static, and the ground shifts. We see Josh make it to his feet, and suddenly, in the dark, he is lifted up off the ground bodily into the sky, the only light source being the camera. We can't see what's taking him, but as he gets pulled into the sky, into the nothingness, he says, "They're not people. They're not people."
Fantastic. You got a 10 plus on your composure roll, so you're able to rush in and help with the situation, no trouble. Do you want to just add anything to the to like your narration of you and Billy getting into the house?
I think no, I think I just drag Hawk bodily in, and he's stumbling about because he's not very well balanced at being handcuffed. It throws your balance off, or that's why they do it. And I think I throw open the door and go running for the room where the TV was, where and I think the
As
first
you
thing I see is just popcorn
well,
blood like
so
all
here's
over
the
the
thing.
floor.
So here's the thing. As you're running in, you smell the smell of burning, like maybe the house is on fire. You hear the sheriff running ahead of you. You hear deeper in the house toward the kitchen, you hear Casey saying, "Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck." And then when you get there, you see that Casey has let the next thing of Jiffy Pop get burnt, and there's just black char on the stove top, and he's trying to like shake it. He's like, "Oh my god." Sheriff Bill sighs. Billy's like,
Casey,
Oh yeah, Billy's like, what's? He's like hopping, you know, and stumbling around with his hands behind his back. He's like, what's going on, man? What's going on?
I think you burned the popcorn. That's
Uh,
yeah, it's too bad.
Sheriff Bill turns and sees the TV on. He's like, oh, you watching some kind of science fiction movie? And that's right when Josh is getting pulled up into the sky. And he says, right, how'd you get the power turned back on? And we'll just cut there. Steve, I owe you a clue. Let's take a look at what you find as you are moving your flashlight around, trying to find some evidence of something. And oh, you see a wall in the tunnel that is covered in the obituary sections of a newspaper. The obituaries have been clipped and taped up to this drywall down in the tunnel. Just dozens and dozens of obituary notices. That's your clue. Michael, you got your clue. I will tell you before we wrap up the scene in the tunnels. You don't see it. Steve doesn't see it. But we, as the audience, see it. Your flashlight flashes back and forth a couple of times as you're looking around, and maybe even as you're going to like look at these obituaries, your flashlight light moves over to the obituaries. But we see as the flashlight cuts across, there's someone standing there watching you, and they are wearing a bronze bull mask over their face and a black hoodie and jeans. That concludes the night phase. We have to resolve a couple of things here. One, there was a clue in the tape that is applicable to a mystery. And two, there is an Odyssey clue in the tape as well. This is a really, really relevant tape to what's going on in Deep Lake. Let's talk about that now. What do we think we found?
I really liked Alex's suggestion that the shape in the sky was like this diamond, and the mention that the Deep Lake was the Deep Lake crater. So what if Deep Lake for the Deep Lake lurker, the actual if you were to drain all of the water out, the actual shape is like a diamond cut shape
Ooh.
crater, as if a giant diamond just
Or something lifted up off of the ground instead. Yeah.
or something lifted up off the ground instead.
The lake is diamond shaped. That's kind of
The
interesting.
lake is
Yeah,
diamond shaped.
very intriguing indeed. I'm into that if we want that to be a clue for the Deep Lake Lurker.
Yeah.
What about what about for TV Odyssey? What might we have learned? Maybe it's connected. I don't know.
There's a lot of stuff that
There's a
happened in
lot of
that.
stuff in that one.
Yeah, like so far the other major theme is like angels coming
Yeah.
in, and they are not people.
I love "They are not people" as a
Mhm.
quote being the clue. That feels
I
really
like that. I
that
was
feels
thinking
really good to
that.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they are not people.
they are not people. Yeah, all caps, right? I'm okay with that. I think that's great. And yeah, that's pretty much all of that we have to take care of. Let's go ahead and go to the dawn phase. You are entitled to a dawn phase. I know it feels weird to do it in the middle of the session, but let's collect rewards. You did resolve House in Escondido Street. The house is still there, but you did the bare minimum of telling Casey what happened to the Rappaports. Um,
I don't think Katie really understood what was going on because she
no.
wasn't there for any of it.
Presumably there will be some follow-up with the others. I don't think Casey truly understood how much danger he was in by being in the house that night. Neither did Katie. I don't think either of you really had
I
any
don't think
sense.
Katie, because nothing's really scary ended up happening while we watched the tape. So I
No.
think Katie doesn't really believe that.
Yeah. She doesn't
Like,
believe that Patience was crawling on the ceiling and all this other stuff, right? Yeah. Like, let's read the rewards. You cannot take the first one because this is the one that you would have gotten if you had answered the Elliot Rappaport question, though you still can try to answer the Elliot Rappaport question. That's still available to investigate. However, you can make Casey Wilcox a recurring side character. You get an extra clue when you consult him about matters related to young people in Deep Lake. You can have Bill Hanscom's personal cell phone number or a memento from the investigation.
I'll take the sheriff's personal self. I'll add it to my collection of cop phone numbers.
Yeah, cop phone numbers. I love it. Good. If you make Casey a recurring side character, everyone gets the advantage of consulting Casey, not just you.
I kind of want, I kind of want the sheriff's phone number.
Too
Steve
bad.
took
I
it.
took it.
Oh, you took the phone number. Okay, sorry, I was not paying attention. I was reading the things. That makes more sense for Steve to have it, actually.
Oh, I accidentally sent the clipping to just Amanda and not everybody. Hold on one second.
No, you sent it to everyone. Oh no,
I
Amanda posted
I
it. Amanda
put it
posted
Oh,
in
Amanda.
there.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I just did it again. So, all right.
Oh.
Well, okay. So I'm sorry. What were you saying, Amanda? What are you taking?
Um, I mean, I could add Casey to my harem.
Yeah, I mean, make Casey a recurring side character
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'll take
works.
Casey.
Okay. So I get stuck with a memento.
Sounds like it. Yeah. Who do you want to call on to define it for you?
Probably Steve, because Steve and I were buddy cops in this one. Alex, is you.
For the memento. Sorry, my
Yeah.
audio cut out.
Yeah.
Ooh, God, I'm trying to remember. Okay, wait, hold on. Remind me. What happened to Michael when we went in that when we were in the house together? Like,
Patience was crawling on the ceiling and tried to kill him.
Mhm.
I think you have. Oh, you're gonna hate this. You have a tube of Patience's favorite lipstick.
Oh, like fell out of her pocket.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. What a weird thing for Michael to have. I love
Exactly.
it.
I will need to know what the color is when that gets used. I feel like that's going to be important.
Coral blue #2.
Miami Sunrise.
Miami Sunrise. That's it. That's what it is.
Fantastic. Okay, very good. Let's keep going with our phase here then. Dawn questions. Did you resolve a mystery? Yes, you did. Everyone gets credit for that one. Katie, did you get a signal from the other side?
I was thinking like the storm clouds and the lightning
I'm into
and the
it.
flashlights and the
Love it.
basic stuff.
Did you, either this session or last session, did you deliver a chilling monologue about something that happened to you in the past?
I don't remember last session if I did.
I
don't
listened
think
to
I
it and
did.
I don't think you did. No.
No.
However, did you cut loose for once? I would say yes. All your stuff with Joey, especially, kind of, and Hawk as well. I think it counts. Fantastic, Steve. Did you receive a signal from the other side?
I don't think I did.
Okay. Were you vulnerable with someone?
I do not recall if I did last session.
Um, I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
With Sheriff Hanscom specifically.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Did you share a good memory from your childhood? Kind of the same thing, both with
Yeah,
Tim
I was
and
gonna
Sheriff
say,
Hanscom.
Tim
Yeah.
and Sheriff Hanscom.
And also you did that in flashback today too.
Yes.
Fantastic. Michael, did you receive a signal from the other side?
Yes, I did.
Fantastic. Which one?
In terms of echoing your clicking noise.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I
I picked up on
cannot
that.
make those strange noises, Jason.
Yeah. Or actually, well, I didn't do that one. The one I didn't do today, my actual clicking noise is that throaty one, but Tim does that little like
Yeah.
something like that.
Mhm.
Okay. Did you deliver a chilling monologue about something that happened to you in the past?
Yes, last session, I believe it was with the Zagreus in terms of investigation, where I made allusions to like something bad
Oh,
happening with
yes,
that mystery.
you did indeed. Did you cut loose for once?
Yes, I did last session with getting into a almost fist
Oh,
fight.
you got into a fight with that guy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's great. Fantastic. Who's advanced so far?
I have advance.
As have
Fantastic.
I.
Oh,
Yeah,
everybody
I'm looking
advanced.
through. I'm gonna grab another latchkey move. I'm just looking through the moves.
I'm gonna bump
Fantastic.
up my, Steve's vitality by 1. He's been using that workout set.
Fantastic. Everybody can choose new elective dawn questions if they wish. And I don't think we have any moves that resolve in the dawn phase. And I don't think we have any unresolved key prompts either. So that takes us to the end of the phase. We will be swinging right into a day phase. I do think that I'm not going to be able to do a day phase and a night phase in the time we have left. So we're just going to we're going to start a day phase and then continue it next week,
Mhm.
basically. So um, let's then take a 5 minute break so I can get everything ready. No, a 10 minutes. Take a 10-minute break so I can get everything ready for introducing a new mystery, and we'll come back and continue. Okay. We have transitioned into a new layer of the campaign, and um, that means you have to turn a key of the child to tell us a little bit more about your past. And so, whoever's ready to do that and wants to start, please do so.
I can go. We see Katie. She is a teenager. She is at school. It is just out in the little paved playground that's outside the school where the basketball nets are and things like that. She is doing cheerleading practice. She's jumping and kicking and stretching, doing cartwheels, doing pom poms. She doesn't have pom poms, but you can still do the action. Uh, we see another group of cheerleaders walk by her and just sort of scoff as they walk by. And one of them says to her, "So, what's it like being a murderer?" And Katie just says, "Come on, guys, let's not do this today. Let's just get our minds on the game, on the practice. Let's get really into our good grooves here." And the other girl says, "Whatever, murderer." And they wave their hands and walk off. We can hear them as they walk off saying, "She still won't tell anybody what she saw that night. Like, not even the cops." And Katie stands still for a moment, and then you see her visibly shake it off and get back to her practicing.
Nice, thank you.
Okay. I've marked a flashback to when you first discovered TV Odyssey. Actions, explosions, it's Action Movie Monday. Steve is sitting in front of a television. It's a snow day. This is when he is a very young child in Minnesota prior to the move to Deep Lake. You might be realizing that there's immediately something strange about this scene. And he's just crunching on a little bowl of popcorn, this little tiny baby of a boy. As you can hear, his parents are talking in the background. They're actually discussing a move for one of their jobs. They need to move to New Mexico just for like a few years, probably. It's this middle of nowhere town. But Steve's paying no attention to this as he's just crunching on thick buttery hands of popcorn, this oddly round child, and he is just absorbing, seated in front of the television. But then the television like distorts slightly, and the VHS player begins to like click and buzz like there's an ejection issue. And, little tiny, I think this is maybe like 4-year-old Steve Knudsen, maybe a little bit older, but it just goes up and begins like just pushing buttons, leaving streaks of buttery, greasy hands all over the VHS. And then the TV just goes off. Um, and he like pushes the button, nothing, pushes the button, nothing, pushes the button. The TV comes back on of like white static. And this little terrible child just goes like, just slaps the screen, like slaps the side, just begins like paw, like this is how the TV works, and grabs the remote and begins just slamming buttons, just face all scrunched up in frustration. Um, but then the signal gets clearer for a moment from the staticky snow. And as the parents in the background are talking more about this town, this place called Deep Lake, through the statically interference, it's like a really bad signal, just very fuzzy and snowy. The clouds outside darken significantly as the windows go from this like pale blue light to something much more dim and dark. As through the snow of the static, you can just barely begin to see the TV Odyssey like broadcasting logo and a little scroll text that says, "We welcome all of our new and upcoming viewers." And then the signal goes back to normal television as Steven's mom pokes his head in and says, "Stevie, can you come in the kitchen? Your dad and I want to talk to you about something."
I am marking the key of the child. A flashback to the moment when you realized childhood. It wasn't forever. Michael was a little bit young for the group the group of teenagers that often got recruited by the Greetings Travelers posters. But his older cousin liked the game and often played with these people. But as Michael is sort of folding up this well worn and well looked at like flyer that he had because he wasn't ever allowed to go to like these things that his older cousin went to, as he sort of pockets it, hoping to get a little bit closer so he can hand the flyer to his cousin, because he wouldn't get to see this flyer again after what happened. No, it has to be kept secret. We see Michael in what amounts to a black suit and tie, probably a little too young to be wearing that sort of thing. We cut to his cousin's funeral. His cousin was only 4 years older. They didn't say what happened. It's open casket. He looks as though he's just sleeping. So Michael takes out the little flyer, sort of shoves it in there, like his mom is just like, Michael, just stop, and like he gives her a dirty look and this act of rebellion. But his cousin does get buried with the Green Traveler's poster sort of stuck into his hand. Childhood isn't forever. Hopefully, it just means you get to grow up.
A few days have passed since the events of the previous night phase, and we have a brand new mystery. You can follow along in the Character Keeper. Our new mystery is Slumber Party Summoning Circle. Steve, you have a childhood friend who still lives in Deep Lake. Her name is Samantha Harrington. Back then, Samantha was a real hellraiser. Describe a time when Samantha got the two of you in deep trouble.
Well, that would be the first time we really actually met as kids. Um, this was back in school. Samantha, very notably anti rules. Steve, very rigidly by the book rules. And this was during a school day. I think Samantha, in her backpack, maybe Samantha had like an older brother or something, or it's just like an elder sibling, and they were a bit of a pothead, and she had brought her brother's, she had stole some of her brother's like weed in her bag, brought it to school, and asked Steve to look after her bag for like a little bit, like because they basically, it was like the cafeteria lunch, and she was like, I need to use the bathroom, and it was like, here, can you look after my bag? My name is Samantha, blah 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 blah. It was like early on, and Steve was like, oh, I'm excited to make a new friend. And Steve, being the klutz that he is, at one point like knocked over her bag and it spilled out all over the floor. Right as like a supervising teacher in the cafeteria is like, the hell are these kids doing with a bag of oregano? Oh, wait a second. That's bad. And despite Steve's stutterings to the contrary, nothing seemed convincing. He got roped into it, and they had detention for a month, and was super grounded. And somehow he and Samantha ended up bonding, and he never ever mustered the courage to tell her off about it. So it just kind of became like a unwilling accomplice slash friend.
Well, Samantha, who still lives in Deep Lake, invited you all to her house for a so-called slumber party for adults. You all attended, perhaps reluctantly. Let's paint the scene, everyone. How did Samantha decorate her house to invoke the feeling of a 1980s girls' slumber party?
I don't know where she found these, but she found a whole bunch of old Teen Beat, Tiger Beat kind of magazines that had the pictures of all the young, handsome men of the era, and has them just pasted up with like tape all along the walls of the rooms, sort of like a teenage girl might do in her bedroom.
Probably decorations out of a birthday party kit rather than a slumber party thing. Is Lisa Frank sort of stylized decorations all over the place, pinned into the walls. Like there is like there is party hats. I don't think those are effectively slumber party esque, but 1980s girlhood, yes.
There's a big sign that says "No boys allowed," but then like scrawled underneath it wrote like "Except Steve."
What about Michael?
Exactly, it doesn't say Michael.
There's also another guy at the party, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
I love
It's
it.
cheeky.
I love it. So Team Tiger Beat posters, love all that. We got the Lisa Frank holographic, tiger cubs and dolphins. Fabulous. The slumber party was also attended by a few of Samantha's local friends, and it ended up mostly being an excuse to get together, drink, and catch up. Samantha did, however, plan a few classic slumber party activities and treats, such as prank phone calls. Sheriff Bill did not appreciate that. Neither did Patience Head. A game of Girl Talk. Who remembers Girl Talk? And even gift bags stuffed with Lisa Frank stickers and friendship bracelets. Near the end of the night, Samantha produced something extra special from the closet. A copy of The Crying Circle, a little-known board game from the 80s that was originally marketed as a competitor to Hasbro's Ouija board. The Crying Circle is actually a kit for performing a summoning ritual. It includes a game board that unfolds into an altar, a plastic athame, a cassette tape with discordant music and chanting on it, battery-operated candles, and the so-called Tome of Sadness, a booklet with sad stories and question prompts that are posed to participants as they play. The idea is you set up your little summoning circle using the items in the box, and then you take turns reading stories from and prompts from the Tome of Sadness in order to get participants to cry. If everyone sheds at least one tear, La Llorona, a figure from Mexican folklore, will appear and grant the group a single wish. Samantha set up the game and then read aloud the opening invocation. La Llorona, gather our tears. We shed them for you, O Mother of Sadness. Show us you are near. Then everyone took turns reading from the Tome of Sadness. Now you each have to answer this question. Which question or story from the Tome of Sadness finally made you cry, if even just a little, and why?
Katie's got mommy issues, clearly. And there's a story that is being read out. Katie's not reading it, but she is listening to it. And it's a story about a woman whose child gets some sort of curse or possession. The details don't really matter. What made Katie tear up a little bit was that the mother in the story ended up sacrificing herself for to save the life of her child, and it just seemed like such a beautiful sad moment to Katie. This mother that loves her child so much that they would give up their own life to ensure their child gets to grow up. And yeah, it touched Katie. It made her feel quite sad.
I think for Steve, it's because Steve is really not good with like emotions. I think the thing that gets to him is the sense of being like othered and being the weird kid and not having any friends. And it's kind of like a mean spirited story for something called the Tome of Sadness, but it's like one that's kind of like in that vein of like, oh, like look at this, like, here's a story about something like really pathetic, really hideous, ugly thing, and oh, boohoo, how terrible, all these bad things that happen to them. But it's like really mean and unsympathetic and digs deep under the skin in a very like dysmorphic way for like Steve. So he kind of like he like does that thing where he like bottles up his emotions and just kind of seems uncomfortable, but his eyes get red and puffy. But you can tell that he keeps like sitting like and shifting his posture awkwardly, like he doesn't feel at home in his own body or his own skin, and like the way that his like clothes sit on him, and the way that like he like occasionally touches like the fat on his face, and it just seems very uncomfortable.
Continuing the theme of a very mean-spirited game. This is a sort of a question that's asked for everyone. Who is someone that you refused even to this day to be friends with because they were less cool than you, and why do everyone else judges for you for it? It's sort of a less of a crying of sadness and more of a crying out of being shamed publicly. Like, what is this game? This is kind of bad. Like as Michael is going, like I think Michael is trying to read it out, but it just keeps on like messing up over the words because he really doesn't want to ask this question because like God, Steve's already crying over something similar like this, and like he and probably Katie's already crying, and I'm just like, uh, this is just gonna make everyone mad. It's just like it sort of panics, and I think he just gets a little bit upset over it.
Well, it worked. Everyone shed at least one tear. Paint the scene. How do you know it actually worked? That you all brought something into the world by playing the crying circle.
I think part of the kit came with candles that we had to light. All the candles go out.
Well, they were LED candles, but they all just went out. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
I think it's like the humidity in the room increases. So it's like everything gets kind of like there's like condensation. You know, it's like everything gets a little like damp.
Steve's even more sweaty than normal.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the very last prompt, when the very last tear is shed, the phone rings. And on the other side of the phone, all you can hear is the sound of a woman crying.
One of the party attendees, Linnea Rodenbecker, actually went catatonic, blank faced, seemingly unaware of her surroundings, and unable to speak. The party, for obvious reasons, immediately ended. Samantha agreed to watch over Linnea for the rest of the night while everyone else went home. The next morning, Samantha comes to you for help. Linnea hasn't gotten any better and might be possessed by whatever you all brought into the world. You gotta help her out. The first order of business is to find out what's possessing her, a sorrowful ghost or something more demonic in nature. Indeed, that's your first question. Is Linnea possessed by a sorrowful ghost or something more demonic in nature? It's a complexity 4, and it unlocks the next question if you answer it correctly. You also have a key here called the Key of Sadness. Each latchkey narrates a flashback to a time when they experienced great sorrow, either their own or someone else's. What about that experience made you a stronger person? And so it has been a few days since last time. It is you've gone to this party. Linnea went into a fugue state. Samantha's been watching over her, and she now comes to you the next morning asking for your help. You know, help me figure out what's going on with her. And she'll leave you to decide how you're going to help her. She's got to get back to Linnea, but let's just go around and find out what everyone's interested in doing for this day phase. You probably need to get some nostalgic moves going at some point if you want to clear some of these conditions. I'll note that you can only be part of one nostalgic move per phase. And yeah, beyond that, what do we all want to do here? Let's just go around the table and see what everyone's interested in. Steve?
I think Steve is really still off put by what like the experience at this the party. He's probably gonna be a bit of a shut in, which might be a good segue into doing like a nostalgic move.
Yeah, that sounds good. Michael?
Uh, Probably. God, like like Samantha is Ski's friend, so like I'm not really inclined to go to Summon Priority Circle, so I'm probably just gonna keep focusing on Zagreus.
Yeah. How
I
so?
think wait, we explored like Galaxy Arcade, as well as like the sort of the storage units.
Yeah, if you want some more
Yeah.
possible leads, it was mentioned in the introduction to that one that the company that made the game is based in Deep Lake or was based in Deep
Mm.
Lake.
Yeah.
And you also have, mm, well, that's probably the most salient thing right now,
Mhm.
unless you just want to do some kind of like online research about Zagreus, or ask around maybe the family members of the disappeared Stick Society kids or something. I don't know, but um,
Yeah, I'm probably going to go to probably an online route because I still have that like weird stalker guy
Yeah.
who keeps on sending me messages. Has not stopped. Tried blocking him, did not work.
Mm. Katie, what do you want to do?
I've definitely noticed that Steve has been a bit of a shut-in, extra like closed off ever since our slumber party shenanigans. So I think I'm going to try and convince him to come out to Deep Lake with me so we can talk to Daniel Kwan about what he might know about possessions. Because if anyone's going to know anything, it's going to be Daniel.
This 8-year-old boy definitely knows something about possessions. He does know a lot. Well, anyway, let's have the scene. To trigger the nostalgic move, you have to just kind of talk about one of the things that takes you back.
Yeah, give me Katie, do you want to set the scene?
Sure. I think you're probably just hanging out in your room being sad. That seems like, I mean, that's what I do when I'm feeling sad. So I think I knock on the door. Steve, buddy,
Uh, hey, yeah, what? You see that Steve just like
hey.
kind of like he's just like sitting on the back of his bed. He has like headphones on, but he has like one like off slightly.
I think
Uh,
I just poke my head in. Hey, champ, how's it going?
hey Katie. Look, I now's not the time, all right? I'm gonna take the trash out later, okay?
Oh, don't worry about the trash. The trash will always be there. That's well, I just want to come. We haven't chatted in a while. How are you feeling?
Uh, doing okay, Katie. Thanks for asking. Just really enjoying some me time. I
Yeah?
was
What you
hoping to
listening to?
need to look up a band real quick, see if they were active in this year. 9 Inch Nails.
Oh, I really like Nine Inch Nails. They do a lot of sounds with their music.
Steve just blinks. He's like, "Okay, Katie.
Yeah? What
Sorry.
did
Is
you?
is there something? Is there something you need right now? Like I said, it's look. I don't really. I'm not in the mood to have a chat. I'm just kind of wanting to keep the day low key. I mean,
Yeah, I super get that. You know, when I was young, I always liked to just when I was in like a bad mood or my family was bugging me or whatever, I always like to go out to just the beach, get some sun, be by myself, maybe read a book, or listen to some music, you
yeah. Oh
know.
God, I hate the beach.
Well, I mean, we don't it's not even the beach, like it could be just like the forest
Oh
and
God, don't even get me started on the forest.
well, what about like I don't know, like tents, camping, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I went camping when I was about 8, and the tent collapsed and I almost suffocated. I think I developed claustrophobia after that
Oh,
incident.
that's
Yeah.
that's awful.
Yeah, no,
Gosh.
I don't really like any of that outdoorsy camping stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
the bugs, they really like me. And then I don't know,
Well,
like,
look at you, buddy. You're so likable, and I think I just do the shoulder punch.
ow.
Oh, I, I don't know my own
Uh,
strength.
no, I think I my no, it's not you, Katie. I just I've been working out lately, and my arms are just so sore. It's just lactic acid.
Yeah. Well, I get that. But it's good for you. Your muscles rebuild, and I mean,
Katie, look, I know
you can
you're.
think about it. All of your cells just
Hey,
constantly
Katie,
rebuild
you're
themselves. You're a
you're
totally
Katie.
different
Please
person
shut
right
up.
now.
Katie, please shut up.
Okay.
Okay, I look. I don't mean to be rude. I'm sorry. Just I'm not. Look, I understand what you're trying to do here. You're trying to make me feel better. I get
Yeah.
it.
Is it working?
No, it's really not. You're actually making me feel worse because you're describing all these like really fun, athletic, outdoorsy things that beautiful people like you do all the time on like the cover of magazines and stuff. And like people like me, we just sweat and smell bad when we try to do them. And it makes me feel kind of sad. So maybe let's just call that a loss and pivot away before either of us walks away from this any worse. I don't mean to be blunt about it. Just I'm really not in the mood. Unfortunately, I'll be fine. Okay, like my cousin Eugene, once told me at a family reunion that the best way to deal with sadness is you got to like treat it like a hog tying. It's like you got to get yourself around those feelings. You got to tie them up real tight and firm, and you got to chuck them in the back of a van, metaphorically speaking, and take them to the slaughterhouse, take them out back. So it's a case of like I'm trying to wrap my feelings, all the stuff that's making me feel bad, and I'm gonna then shoot it in the fucking head. So just
Yeah,
taking time, I gotta tie it all up nice and tight and let them squeal and then slit their fucking throat.
that's actually really pretty cool. Think about it this way. You're taking control of the things that make you feel bad, and you are pushing them into like submission. That's a really, really cool and brave thing to do. I think that you aren't giving yourself enough credit. I think you're not a victim of your feelings. You are the boss of them.
My feelings are my victim.
Yeah.
I Well, I mean, when you put it like that, it sounds so much more boss than how I give myself credit for.
Exactly.
I mean, like my dad used to tell me that, like, to show off, to really just be like showing and talking about your feelings with others is a sign of weakness. But I never really kind of like thought about it as like, hey, look at me. I'm beating my problems into submission. I'm making them
Yeah.
bend their knee before me. Yeah, that's right. I'm
Yeah.
the boss. Damn. That's actually, I never thought about it like that before.
And I mean, like I try to I focus a little too much maybe on what other people think of me. Like I just want people to think that I'm collected and I'm on top of things and I'm always happy and all those things are true. But like at the same time, I might want the attention of men too much. I might need their validation too much. But I think about if I can do the same thing you're doing, I could take all of that need for validation. And what did you say? Just like bundle it
Just
up into a van?
wrap it up in some plastic cords, bungee cables, chains, and
Yeah.
just throw it in a corner and beat it with a baseball bat, spray it down with mace, kick it in the face, put its jaws on the curb and stomp it.
Yes.
Damn, that
Oh,
feels good. I mean, like you got eyes on you all the time, Katie. Well, it's how you dress, but I mean, like, I don't like people looking at me all the time. People always look at me, and I walk through life thinking, "Hey, stop looking at me. I'm not a freak." But now, when people look at me, I can take those feelings and I
yeah.
can be like, "Those wrongness? No, I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna cuff it. I'm gonna throw it in the back of a hot van with no air conditioning in the middle of the summer, and I'm gonna let it sit in the Costco parking lot while me and my partner get a hot dog."
Fantastic. We'll come back to this in a moment. We'll come back to this incredibly healthy conversation in a moment. Um, Michael, how do you begin your research? What are you doing here?
Well, for starters, I'm going through Atrofoy's like previous posting history.
Mm.
Like if you're gonna bother me by stalking my every movement both online and probably in person, I'm gonna do it back. So like, where have you been posting besides focusing on just me?
I love that. Go ahead and make the meddling move with reason. I don't think any of your conditions apply.
That is 9 plus 1, so that's 10.
Nice. Let's get you a clue. Yeah, checking his post or their post history, you will discover you have to follow a few links to kind of follow what Attafoy85 has been up to on the internet, and it probably takes you the better part of the afternoon to find something useful. But you discover that Attafoy85 has been posting the text from Rachel Urietta's journal. She's one of the people who went missing back in 85. And her journal entries, and that takes you a while longer to read through those, she writes about unstoppable forces of entropy in the universe. I put the text of the clue in chat. Steve, are you making a case for clearing I've got my eye on you because
Yep.
you're the one who's got your eye on things?
Exactly what's happening here.
Yeah, and
Since I took I just got my advancement. I took thank you for being a friend. So Alex, you can get Steve to clear a second condition, or you can take the condition feeling good, which you can clear at
I'm
any
taking
time
feeling
to get
good.
advantage.
Yeah.
you can clear it to get advantage anytime.
Yeah.
Great.
And I think you've probably cleared Starfire pretty
Yeah.
well there by talking about not needing the validation of men. Fantastic. I love that for you, Katie. And, fits and starts. We eventually reach a healthier place. Terrific. You also both get to collectively define a clue in the scene. Do you have any thoughts on that, or do you need a minute?
I don't have any immediate thoughts. So
Be
maybe it'll
thinking.
take a second. Yeah.
Yeah, be thinking on it. I'll check back in with Michael. Michael, you are going to spend most of the day in your online research.
Mhm.
What would you like to do beyond that?
I think I probably need to go to the parents of one of the victims since I did find Rachel's journal
Yeah,
online. Like,
yeah.
I gotta check out what's happening with Rachel's family.
Mm-hmm. So we actually know from the introduction that the family's all left.
Oh,
But you might be able to find Rachel's old house, though. I think
yeah,
that's fair.
yeah, okay.
Um, yeah. Give me a moment. I have an idea here.
Causing shenanigans with this mystery because I'm pretty sure this is not official location.
It is definitely not, but that's okay. I am going to take my own advice um, from our discussion at the coffee chat today and pull in characters from another mystery. Rachel Urietta's family's home, it won't be any trouble figuring out where they used to live. It is now the home of a retired cop and his wife, Otis and Deborah March. What do you do?
I wish I brought Steve with me on this one,
I
but
know, yeah, you need Steve. I know. Well, we can go back and get Steve, or you can wait for Steve if you want. There's no rush.
no, I'm not gonna get Steve because you'll be buddy buddy, and I really don't need that today. I need a pragmatic mind, and that's me.
Okay, very good. What do you do then?
I think I'm going to knock on the door.
A man with drooping jowls like a bloodhound and rifle green eyes. He looks like he used to be probably pretty muscular, though, he's older now and he's gone a little soft. He opens the door and he says, can I help you?
Uh, yes. I I'm Michael Stroder, and I am a historian, and well, I'm looking into the recent history of Deep Lake. Currently, that's most sort of let's say notable occurrences have been happening within the 80s. In particular, there was a series of missing teenagers from 1985. Well, one of them being Miss Rachel Urieta, and she used to live here. So,
Oh, oh, good. Sorry, I thought you were gonna. I thought you were gonna ask about our daughter, Rachel Orietta, the Orietas. Yeah, yeah,
mhm.
yeah. That's the family that used to live here. Uh, before we moved in, they left when Rachel, I guess, Rachel ran away or something.
Mhm.
What else do you want to know?
Just general like sort of this sort of status of like the home where you found it in, sort of any sort of conversations you may have had with the parents, or by your personal experience during that summer.
Make the meddling move with presence.
Do I have
It's probably
anything?
composure because you're lying, but I'll give you presence.
My presence is the worst skill, so do I have anything I can mark with advantage? No, I don't think any of those items would help. That is a 6.
Six. Hmm. We'll pick up with this in a moment. What about that clue, Steve and Katie?
Go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah, I think that while we're chatting about that, we're just sort of coming down off of the the immediate powerful rush of I don't know, whatever just happened. And I think Steve remembers, or maybe I've also heard rumors that Samantha was actually famously emotional at school, like frequent crying breakdowns, um, where people would be like, "Oh, that's just Samantha crying again." So I think that's for some reason something Steve remembers that kind of clicks onto that memory and realizes for some reason it's important, but he's not sure why
It's a good
yet.
insight. Yeah, good clue, good insight. Well, um, I think while you're all like having this little moment, speak of the devil, you are going to get a text message on your little Nokia, Steve, from Samantha. It just says, "Get over here quick."
Oh, hey, I think we got a problem. Maybe we should head over. You want to come?
Oh, well, yeah, I can go out to the lake later, I'm sure.
If you want to go to the lake now, you can. I'm not stopping you. I'm gonna head over.
Well, can you ask her if she needs two people?
Text back. Can Katie come?
Sure.
She says sure.
Oh, okay. Well, hang out with the girls again. A little weird.
You get back to Samantha Harrington's house, and it is still kind of, um, it's still a little like torn up from last night. There are pizza boxes and empty beer cans, kind of strewn about. Um, there's a Britney Spears poster that greets you when you first walk in, and I think that's always there. I don't think that's there because of the slumber party. It's just my sense of things. And she has a cat who you'll recall, Mr. Max. He's very confused, very annoyed by everything that's been going on the last 24 hours. Let's paint the scene about Samantha Harrington's house. Samantha Harrington never made it out of Deep Lake. What do we see that makes us think she desperately wants to be somewhere else?
She has stacks of travel magazines, just absolute stacks. And there's little markers and post-its and flags in various pieces. You can tell that she goes through these and flags places she wants to go, deals that she's spotted. Uh, but there is no like luggage in her place. She's never actually gone anywhere.
There is several business cards of a few different realtors, but for some reason Samantha's home has never been on sale.
I think she's collected several magazines, like travel magazines. Um, and all of them are like very like well like very well read, very like flip through, but they're now beginning to collect dust in a corner, almost like angrily discarded.
Well, I think you probably can see the door is ajar. You go in, you see a few of these things. No sign of Samantha or Linnea yet. And then you hear Samantha coming up from the hall to when she realizes you're there. She says, and you see her. She's still kind of dressed like she was last night a little bit. She has oversized sweater on, hair scrunchy. She had big like garage door eye makeup. Um, and she kind of comes up and she says, "Oh, hey, thanks for coming. Uh, so Linnea's gone. She's gone.
What?
She
Where'd she
just like
go?
she just like was sitting there all night, just staring at the wall. And I, I this morning, same thing, just staring. And then she just moved suddenly, and she pushed past me, and she walked out of the house, and she started walking down the street. I, I mean, I guess in the direction of her house, but I like called her. I tried to like yell at her. She wouldn't respond. I couldn't stop her, and I don't know what to do here.
Um,
Did you call the
yeah.
police?
Well, so here's the thing. I did not call Sheriff Bill because Sheriff Bill and I are not on the best of terms right now. Let's just put it that way.
Well, I mean, he's a professional, so he would not take his own like
I,
personal feelings into
I'm on
account.
pretty good terms with Sheriff Bill. I'll give him a call.
Okay, okay, all right, great.
I'll go. I'm gonna just go walk up and down the road and see if I can spot her. Maybe she fell down or something.
Okay, okay, good. Oh, good. I'm glad you. I'm so glad you guys are here. Steve, you call Sheriff Bill. Don't tell him you're with me
I
because that
won't.
means the conversation is probably going to go a little sideways. And um, Katie, you're going to go. And then as soon as as she says that, you hear some commotion coming from the hall closet, like something getting knocked around in the hall closet. What was that?
I think something fell in your closet.
Mr. Max is over there, like nosing around the closet, and then there's like a thump, and Mr. Max runs off.
I'm gonna go open the closet.
You open the closet, and you see coats, shoes, a stack of board games. There is a long trench coat hung on a hook against the far wall of the closet, and there's something moving around behind it. What do you do?
I think I'm just assuming it's like a cat because Mr. Max is a cat, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm assuming they probably have two cats and there's a cat got stuck in there.
You can
So
just
I'm just gonna
you just pull it down.
pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull the trench coat, like slide it on the rack towards me so I can look behind it.
You see a young kid, I mean, a little younger than you at least, black hoodie, black guy liner, black combat boots. He's like, "Oh, hey. Oh, God. What time is it?"
Uh, Samantha,
She's like, "What is it? What's going on?"
do you have a sibling?
No. And she kind of pushes past you, and she sees who's in the closet. She says, "Silas, what are you doing in my closet?" Silas says, "Chill out. I snuck in here last night. I saw my sister came here, and I was gonna play a joke on you, and I fell asleep, I guess."
That's really weird.
And he kind of says, "Sorry, I wasn't. I, I did have to do some light breaking and entering. I'm really sorry about that. But it was gonna
Okay,
be so cool."
okay, but like, so you've been asleep all night? You haven't seen anything?
Well, what time is it?
I tell him.
He's like, wow, I must have. Ooh. It's the last time I take one of my sister's pills before. Well, okay, never mind. Hey, listen.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Where
whoa.
where's
Your
Linnea?
sister's on medication?
Uh, every Rodenbecker is on medication at all times.
Okay, like, but what kind?
Uh, grab a menu, and I'll just say yes.
Okay, but what does she
Ozempic,
take it
Yeah.
Ritalin.
for?
Uh, wait, is there something wrong? Well, is there something wrong with Linnea?
Yeah, she's walked off. It's really. Hey, you come with me. You're gonna help me walk up and down the street. We're gonna find your sister
Okay.
because you know her better than
Yeah.
I
Okay.
do,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and you're gonna
Okay.
tell me about her, okay?
He's like, "What's your name?"
Katie.
Oh, okay. Cool. You look like you're like a popular chick.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter what I look like because I am a strong, independent woman, and I don't need any man. So, you, me, road now.
Samantha says, "Have you got a hold of the sheriff yet?" And you have, Steve. Steve, Sheriff Bill says, "This is Bill Hanscom."
Bill, hey, it's Steve Knudsen.
Oh, Steve of the North. How's it going?
Going pretty well. Can't lie to you, Bill. Things aren't looking so hot. Looks like we got someone who might need your help. Linnea Rodenbecker seems to be uh doing not great. She went wandering off, and we're trying to find her.
Yeah, I saw her walking up the street. I think she was heading back to the ranch.
Okay, well, hey, that's good to know. Glad that she's going home. Yeah, she just seemed awfully like in a, I don't know, I don't want to throw around the words like on substances, but she certainly seemed a little out of it. Something's going on there.
Linnea
But
Rodenbecker on substances.
again, I know it's you call me crazy, but it certainly seemed odd. Well,
I mean,
glad
don't
to
get
know
me
that.
wrong. That whole family is completely. I mean, every member of that family is one crayon short of a box. But
Oh yeah, give me a menu and I can tell you exactly every type of medication they're on. But
but
look, I'm
Linnea, she's the normal one, right? Come
she's as
on.
straight as they come, as fly as straight as an arrow. But I'm saying that there's something weird going on with her. But hey, good that you caught eyes on her heading home. So,
All
Bill, you know what? I'm sure she'll be safe with her family. So, hey, I'll let you know if there's any other problems.
right, yeah, give me a call. All right. I don't want to lose another Rodenbecker.
Sorry, another one?
Well, I mean, just lose them in the sort of like, like them
um,
losing their fucking minds sense.
yeah. So, which was the last one that lost their mind?
Grab a menu.
Ah,
I'll
yeah,
say
fair.
yes. Yeah.
All right, fair. Yeah. All right. Well, you keep it easy out there, Bill.
Right, you too, Steve of the North.
Bill of the tan. I don't know. I don't have one for you yet. We'll get there.
He's already hung up.
So I think maybe you and I. What you want to like? Maybe show me the ropes. Do like a ride. Oh, he hung up.
Exactly. Bill of the
Like
Desert.
Bill of the desert.
Very good. Let's pick up with Michael, who has a miss on the table. Um, boy, where do I want to go with this? Let me think. I have some thoughts, but okay. I think, oh, this is Otis Marsh,
Mhm.
and you're talking to him, you're asking him about, like, what happened to the house and all of this stuff, and he says, it's, I mean, we heard the stories, about those kids that went missing, but I mean, Deep Lake's a really weird town. A lot of strange stuff has happened over the years. I mean, and he kind of like closes the door so presumably his wife doesn't hear him talking to you.
Mhm.
He says, I mean, you know about our daughter, right?
I'm aware, but I just didn't want to bring up because it's much more personal when it's your own family.
Right. Okay. So then you know that my daughter's biological brother killed their entire family.
I I'm also aware that you adopted her, so
Right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Right, right, right. Yeah,
yeah.
well, and I'm just saying, like, this town has a history. A lot of bad stuff happens in this town.
Mhm.
And here I think he kind of says, a lot of bad stuff happens in this town. I could show you some bad stuff if you want.
I think I'm gonna turn a key. That's just so alarming.
I mean, you could just say no. I mean,
No, it's funnier if I turn a key.
all right, what are you going to turn?
The wandering monolith.
Oh, very interesting indeed. Very well, very well. Let's read that just for people who are watching and don't know. You can now seek out the big man. How do you make contact with him? The big man can be consulted like any other side character. When you do so, roll sensitivity, and then there's different things that happen. Um, I think instead he does not say that. He says, "But yeah, I heard some stuff. I know some stuff about that group of kids. I don't know if it's anything that should be taken seriously. What did you say this was for again?
Historical project I'm working on, sort of with
Oh, you're those kids who were here making the TV documentary, right?
yes.
Right, right, right. Oh, are are you going to be interviewing me or something?
Mm, yes, as eventually it's more or less doing case sort of surface level interviews.
Oh, I
Just make
see, I
sure
see.
that because in case people don't want to be in part of like
Doing
sort of like
a little advance.
research.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, yeah. Well, um, yeah, okay. Okay, sure, why not? And he says, stay right here. And he comes back with a crumpled up flyer. It's a missing person flyer. It's Jessica Stosky on the flyer, which makes it seem like it's a clue for the Deep Lake Lurker, but it's not. He says, when we moved in, we found some of Rachel Urietta's stuff that had gotten left behind. And this was tucked inside one of her notebooks. Now, that alone might not be too unusual, except the flyer and the incident is clearly from 1992. You see, there's a date, and also that's when Jessica would go missing. But we moved in to the Urietta's house in 1986. Can you explain that to me?
Not really. That is very interesting.
The clue, though, is that Rachel Urrieta had a missing poster that seemingly from the future. Let's check in with the others. Hmm. Well, Katie, you and this is Silas Rodenbecker. He's kind of like, he's walking with you, and he's kind of just like, kind of talking. He's like, I mean, do you even know what it's like being a fucking Rodenbecker in this town? And worse, to be named after Silas Rodenbecker, the snake killing, Bible thumping lunatic who started it all?
Wow, that sounds really difficult.
It is. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
Like, really. I mean, if you're a Rodenbecker, everyone thinks you're like a rich weirdo. And honestly, they're right. I mean, look at cousin Dolores. She should be in a padded cell, not watching her damn videos all day and night. The, this, this town makes you cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And my family's been here since the beginning, and so we're the most Cocoa Puffed out of our minds.
Yeah. Well, is that what happened with your sister Linnea? Like,
No,
you
she's the
said she's
normal
on
one,
medication,
man. She's the normal one. No,
but
she's not on anything. She's on ibuprofen at most.
oh, but the rest of your family is kind of like. No, I mean I get it. My mom was popping Percocets like all the time because she was so stressed out. But like,
He stops and he pulls out an inhaler.
well, I mean asthma is not psychologically related.
I don't have asthma. I just like the way it feels.
Okay, that's strange. I'm beginning to see what you're saying now. I'm beginning to like see what you mean.
Are you heading back to the ranch? Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah, well, we're kind of looking. So your sister just got up and walked off.
Right.
So I just want to make
It
sure she didn't
sounds like
fall
she's on
down
her way
somewhere.
home.
Probably, but what if she fell? Like Samantha called and she wasn't home yet, or she didn't answer the phone. So we're basically following her tracks. We're following her footsteps, seeing if we spot anything.
Was she
So just
high?
keep. I don't.
Were you guys like doing mushrooms or something last night? Oh my
I
god.
mean, I
How
wasn't.
come I didn't stay awake? Ugh.
I don't know. I don't even know why you were hiding in the closet. That's so weird, man.
Well,
It's like creepy.
you got to do something to pass the time in a place like this.
Right. Well, just keep an eye out on the road, see if there's anything she might have dropped, anything that looks like something she owns. Like if I just want to make sure she was going in this direction.
That's good. You can go ahead and make the meddling move with reason.
All right. I actually have pretty good reasons. So. Oh no, that's a 7.
Hmm.
At least 7.
Silas, you're walking down the street. The ranch is just like a quarter of a mile outside of town. It's within walking distance once you get to the edge of town. And he's going out and he says, he says, "Oh, I think that's my sister's sweater. Look." And indeed, you see the pink cardigan sweater that Linnea was wearing last night. It is kind of, let me think about this, how I want to present this. There's like an old town well, and the sweater is like snagged on like the handle of the well and kind of blowing like a flag in the desert wind.
Oh. Oh no, is that well still like in use?
I mean, there's still water down there. I mean, you can no one drinks from it anymore, but like you can go in there and like throw pennies and stuff in it. Like,
Oh, I think I'm gonna rush over and look down because I'm worried she fell in.
and what would you get on your die roll?
7.
Ah, I owe you a clue, which I will give you, but I think because you're the next victim and there's a source of water here in the well, we'll pick up with that in a bit. Steve, what are you doing right now?
Think after that, Steve is going to actually, I don't know, because I was thinking we just had Katie check in with the Rodenbeckers, which is actually pretty good. I think Steve is going to go put his mind, he's like, oh, well, okay, things are good. She's back at home. He's going to put his mind back on the other tasks, which was um these tunnels that he had like poked into at first. So I think we see Steve not tell anybody, and he's going to go over to the Myanmar.
Oh, nice. Good. head back into the tunnels. I think we'll end the session there today.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna put a little. We'll continue the stay phase next time, but I'm gonna give myself a little note for next time. Michael, you were talking to Otis March and had just received a very interesting clue. And then, Katie, you are looking over the edge of the town well, which still has water in it. And Steve, you're going back down into the tunnels. And somewhere else, the same day, in the deep desert, the big man is walking alone. The sun is high in the sky, bright and hot. And the big man looks even worse than when Michael saw him. The flesh of his face is hanging in long, saggy flaps. His eyes are milky and occluded. His cowboy hat's nowhere to be found. You just see little wisps of gray hair atop his stretched too tight skin of his skull. His great bulk is no more. Now he is just a tall, gaunt, yellow thing wandering the waste, a king of ghouls. He walks to the yawning mouth of a cave and cries into the darkness. Come forth, if you must, great hunger, devil of the ancient world, render of flesh. You have followed the signal to this place, followed it home. Well, show yourself then. Show yourself, and do what thou wilt. From the darkness of the cave mouth steps a great hunger, a render of flesh, dressed in tasteful chinos and cream-colored cardigan sweater. David Tilbert. He steps out of the cave and he smiles, and we can see his skin distending and twisting. Something is crawling beneath his flesh. Something particularly large crawls beneath his flesh, up his jaw, past his cheek, and begins to come up through his eye. His eyelid is bubbling as a bug pushes its way out of it. And with that, we'll go to Stars and Wishes. Who would like to go first?
Wow. Great stinger. Stars for that. Holy moly. Okay. You know what? I totally forgot about the Great Hunters. I totally forgot about that whole thing. So this is scary now. Um, wow. Okay. So yeah, this was a really um like fast-paced session. One thing I really liked about it was there were so many side characters to interact with. We got a lot of opportunities to do that. So stars to Jason for keeping all of the side characters straight and like having them all be very different energy. That's always a really difficult thing. And it was really good. I always knew who we were talking about and talking to. Um, I loved the scene with Steve and Michael in the tunnels where Steve was going to go down by himself and Michael was like, "You dummy, don't do that. That's a bad idea." And then all of the arguments, especially with Steve just going off and off and off about all the weird stuff that he was talking about, and Michael being like, I'm going to stop you there, and we're going to make a little bit of sense of this. I thought that was a really fun mirror of when Steve and Katie were talking in the vulnerable scene, when Steve was like, Katie, just shut up. It seemed like a really fun spin on that. I loved how the end of Escondido Street, like that night in Escondido Street with Katie, nothing scary happened. Casey burned the popcorn and screamed. Like, that's very funny to me. That's very entertaining. That Michael and Steve had this horrible experience and Katie just had burned popcorn. That's funny to me. Um, Again, stars Jason for the chewing sounds. They were disgusting. Like, I literally had to pull my headphones out just because I could not listen to that anymore. It was horrifying. So huge stars for that. Just like you can do some really creepy sounds, but those are real nasty.
Tim Crayley is the single worst. It's the worst
I
instance.
hate him.
You've
He's
done
so
so many mouth
gross.
sounds. He is the worst.
He
I
has to
hate.
die.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
gotta kill Tim
I'm
Crayley.
I'm uh I'm gonna sacrifice him to the lake or something because he's just terrible, in the best way. I really liked everybody's tape descriptions when we were doing the Odyssey tape. I liked all of the things that people threw in. There were so many cool things like the animals running away and the spiral patterns, the lightning, the diamond in the sky, just all really strange, weird stuff, and everything seemed really out of place, but nothing seemed out of place compared to anything else. Does that make sense? Like
Mhm.
it all was weird, but none of it seemed too weird. I guess it all seemed kind of too weird, but in the best way. But I thought that was just a lot of really cool, evocative things that we can throw into our TV Odyssey thoughts. So I'm really here for all of that. Um, the the vulnerable scene was a lot of fun. The taking this weird thing that Steve was going on about and spinning it into something actually kind of healthy in a messed up way. Like no
Kind
therapist
of.
would say no therapist would say that, but it was spinning and taking like, personal it, taking away your victim status and giving yourself like personal integrity and authority. Like it seemed really kind of a neat way of doing that. So that was a lot of fun. It's just really weird. um yeah, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with the Great Hunger. um I have never played Slumber Circles or Slumber Party Summoning Circle, so I'm really excited to see more of what this is going to do. We're almost done the Deep Lake Lurker, so I'm hoping that we'll get that cleared up with get some cool ideas. So everyone get your answering a question brain thinking
Mhm.
about it because we have 4 clues. Just need probably one more to get a +1. Yeah, that's my stars and wishes. This is great, great fun, great fun all around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Alex.
Oh, I was gonna say I'll be very fast with mine just to throw out there. Yeah, I mean, like I really gotta give credit to Amanda for the helping shape that nostalgic scene. Because I didn't know what shape it was gonna take. I wanted to start very firmly from a place of like the wall is up, shut down the conversation. But I knew Amanda as a player was gonna do some approach that would eventually be like, and now this is where we're gonna go. So then clicking those emotions into place and like, that's actually really cool. I was like, let's make this unhealthy as hell, but in a really fun way. So that's a star to you for always finding really cool role playing vectors to play off of. That was great. I don't know, like a part of me still will star the Tim Crayley voice sounds, even though they're disgusting and we hate them, but also because I don't know, there's something now vaguely I like about Tim Crayley. He's a weird, gross little guy, but I don't know, might be good to have around in a pinch.
He went and did some research after y'all
Yeah,
talked and came
yeah,
back and told you what he
yeah,
found.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He's a gross guy, but honestly, he's been proven pretty helpful. Um, and yeah, I'm really gonna star the Odyssey tape stuff, especially like they're not people and how we use that for the Odyssey clue, because that is really cool for what we've been developing lore wise. And then by extension, Jason playing off that and having the bug poking out of the big man, I'm like, oh my god, this is weird and gross and
Or was that out of David
out
Tilbert?
of,
But yeah, yeah.
David Tilbert, so I meant to say not the big man during the big man scene, but yes, no, like having it come back with him as a Great Hunger is terrifying, and I'm very excited. So yeah, that was just a lot of fun, and I love doing Slumber Party, so I'm happy to meet some of those characters. And obviously, my big wish is to once again, we had this in our previous campaign of Signals. I need Jason Cordova's performance of Dolores Rodenbecker singing one of her many songs again, because the last one was just too good. I need to see it again.
Yeah, I'll star that nostalgic move scene between Katie and Steve. That was really great. It was really enjoyable to watch, and um, yeah, you both like I thought it was really like an intriguing way of clearing those conditions. It was really like very clever and good role play. It led to great scenes. And I particularly enjoyed the follow up with Katie and Silas. Like Silas not really saying anything. I mean, just making like a dumb remark, and you being like, "No, I'm an independent woman." Like, I don't know. It was just really hilarious. I quite dug that. Loved by the same token, I loved all the interactions between Michael and Steve and the tunnels. I thought that was really great. I like or going into the storage facility, and their whole vibe is really really good. Their vibe together in particular is really good. So that was really enjoyable. Odyssey tapes were terrific. All the flashbacks were really really good. Like the funeral flashback was terrific, especially. Yeah, there was the flashbacks were, oh, and the one about Katie and like the kids calling her a murderer, like, and then the way they were like, whatever, murderer, like that was just such a fucking evil kid thing to say. And like, so that was all really really terrific. Yeah, I just felt like I got to know these characters so much better. And Skinny Jeans is definitely doing one thing that I wanted it to do, which is like to much more quickly get to like what are these characters'
It's
deals?
layer 3, and
I
it's
know,
been 4 sessions. That's
I know.
crazy.
Like, what's these characters' deals? Like, what are their like? What is their trauma? What is their deal? Like we know these characters like we know a lot about their backstories, and I think that's really really good, and it feels very cinematic. Um, and so I'm very very happy with that. And yeah, for wishes, I'm just really excited to. I hope everyone goes to, or I hope at least one of you goes to Rodenbecker Ranch. That's a fun set piece, and the characters there are a lot of fun. So I'll second that from Alex. And I am excited about the tunnels because you're going into the tunnels during the day phase, which means you'll have more time down there. And so I'm curious to see what that's going to be about, what's going on. Um, it's not a wish, it's kind of a star, I guess, but I was really kind of like intrigued and pleased with how the introduction of the marshes into this campaign went. They're from Dog Told Me To, and I don't know if we're going to do Dog Told Me To, but I like the idea of just making Deep Lake feel like more of a living, breathing, connected, interconnected place, and so that was really fun for me. Yeah, so I'm really happy with it so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely very happy how we came back after like a very long hiatus. Like it's been
Yeah, it was a long
months.
break, but we got right back into it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm very impressed with everyone's flashbacks. God damn it, that Steve Knudsen. Why are you going to try to give me a heart attack? You need to stop going into like enclosed dark places. You need to stop it. Like, uh,
Wait, didn't Steve just say he's claustrophobic now because of the tent?
yes.
And we had the talk about taking our fears and feelings and being master over them, slit their throats.
My God. Uh, yeah.
Blame Katie.
Yeah. I really do like that we're incorporating like other mysteries as like characters like seeing like how Deep Lake is all connected. It's all ongoing. Uh as well as like the Odyssey tape, specifically the signals from the other side. Like I thought they were very good and clever. Man, I am I have like 3 clues in my back pocket currently. So like we should answer a question soon.
Yeah, you could like pile those up and get a really if you got another 12 plus on or if you got a 12 plus on your next answer a question, that would give you you would have at that point one, two, three, four, you'd have 5 Odyssey clues, and then if you watch a tape at the end of next session, that would be 6. You'd already have 6 Odyssey clues on a complexity 6 question, right? So this is a compressed time frame that we're operating in, and but I like it because it's like TV Odyssey never stops being central to this, right? Like this is TV Odyssey all the time. Like TV Odyssey is front and center, and I think that feels really really good. Um, what I haven't decided on yet, because I don't think the playtest addresses it, is if you answer the Odyssey question early, do you get to then do TV Odyssey mystery and then come back to the other stuff, or you just abandon the other stuff, or do you have to wait until you resolve the other stuff before you can do the TV Odyssey mystery? I haven't decided on that yet, but there's a part of me that thinks you should be able to immediately resolve or go after the TV Odyssey mystery because the characters are on such a short leash in terms of their keys, right? So I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I kind of cut you off. Sorry, Kat.
Yeah, but I'm going to get my 4th clue, and I really want to spend them soon. Because I don't like I haven't really spent them, and I really want to use my move. But still, like it's very fascinating, like where everyone is ending up. I'm looking forward to using my next playbook move, which is gonna be a fun one. It's Michael's gonna get weirder.
What did you choose?
Have
Oh,
you
have you ever
ever
danced the devil? Oh,
so
you get all your little candles and grimoire and stuff. Yeah, it's great. Well, what I love about that is you brought it. You just haven't showed it to us yet,
yeah,
right? Yeah, like
I have my reasons.
the
Don't
crying
worry.
circle awoken something in you. Yeah. Fantastic.
Hmm.
Anything
Oh, one
else?
quick little
Yeah.
star. Jason, I'm pretty sure there isn't in the actual clue, if I recall correctly, there isn't anything specified it being this, but I really like how you made it that it was the flyer for Jessica.
Hmm.
Jessica, Jennifer? Just yeah, the Jessica,
Jessica.
who had gone
Oh
missing.
yeah.
That was found. I thought that's just another really nice way of making Deep Lake and all of these issues happening kind of like they're tied together in some
Yeah,
way.
well, so the funny thing is the clue as written says crumpled up flyer for a missing person dated 1992. The details are scribbled out and a skull is drawn over the face. And I'm assuming that that is like a poster that happened subsequent that happened in 1992 years after the Stick Society events. But I kind of like the idea of like, well, that was the same year that Jessica went missing, if I remember correctly, and so it just kind of made sense, right? I mean,
Hmm.
1992 was a pivotal year in Deep Lake. A lot happened in 1992. 85 and 92. Those are the two most like significant years in this setting, I feel like. But
Hmm.
yeah, fantastic. Any other stars and wishes?
God, I'm so scared of Zagreus, honestly.
I do have a wish for Zagreus related to something you said in chat, Alex, which is I have never had Synchroly 308 show up in when I've run this,
Forgot about
nor
that.
nor have I ever had Angela Hoskins turn up
No, Angela
either.
Hoskins was in our Signals game.
Oh, was she? Oh, she
Yeah,
was.
she got killed.
Or maybe the homeless guy. I
It's
guess
the
the
homeless
homeless guy
guy.
have. Yeah. In any case, I've never had that one guy though Synchroly show up, and so I might. I'm aiming to like get all the characters in from
Yeah,
Zagreus. So
Synchroly
yeah.
works. It's specifically if characters decide to go on to Vector Void and start messaging people.
Yeah, yeah, that's I think that probably makes the most sense. Oh, that's another wish. I hope you all go to the video game company offices.
Oh
That's
yeah,
a fun
I
set
wrote this
piece.
and I keep
Yeah,
forgetting about these
that's a
things.
really fun set piece. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Fantastic. All right, well, this is great fun. I'm gonna wave goodbye to folks watching the video. Goodbye, folks watching the video.